Okay, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming out to the Splice. We're in January here. February. January. Sorry. I'm already jumping ahead. So we have January, we have February, March, and then April will be our last Splice reading. Hopefully you all can make it here for the New Orleans Poetry Festival. Really cool thing we're going to do is after the reading, we want to get a Splice family picture with everybody, not just the readers, but everybody who supported the series all the way. And there's a lot of those people, so that's going to be an arduous task. We have a great reading today, and I'm so excited. We have Ihns and Emily Bark Brown coming in. And introducing, first we'll have Sean Monroe will be introducing. Get up here.
All right, thanks for being here. Don't forget that if you come to Splice more than 10 times, you will be given a free tattoo during New Orleans Poetry Festival at the Splice. There'll be some flash to pick from. You won't have to deal with Rodrigo picking your tattoo. Emily Bark Brown is a poet from Mobile, Alabama, and Brooklyn, New York. They co-edit Hot Pink, an online poetry magazine. They received an MFA from the Iowa Writers Workshop. Recent work can be found in the Poetry Project newsletter, Mercury Furs, Nora Sona, Bennington Review, Oversound, and Blush, among others. Their chapbook, Welcome to August, is out now from the year. They work at Nightboat Books as a managing editor, host the reading series in public spaces around New York City. You can find them online at emilybarkbrown.com and on Instagram at bedgloom. Emily Bark Brown's poetry operates through distinctive formal tensions, sequences that resist their own taxonomic logic, fragmentation that paradoxically creates intimacy, and a voice that oscillates between documentary precision and ecstatic vulnerability. Across their chapbook, Welcome to August, and manuscript, Except Maybe I Love You, Brown develops a poetics of queer accumulation, desires indexed, cataloged, and deferred through the structures meant to organize it. One of Brown's formal strategies is the numbered list. Deployed most extensively in Welcome to August, these enumerations resist the organizational logic they invoke. In the poem titled The Second Time Around, 30 items document physical intimacy in a non-linear progression, circling obsessively around touch, memory, loss, the beloved's body atomized into discrete moments, biting, kissing, marking, that never sum to wholeness, only to more wanting and desire. This technique enacts what Roland Barthes describes in A Lover Discourse. Language is a skin. I rub my language against the other. It is as if I had words instead of fingers, or fingers at the tip of my words. My language trembles with desire. Brown's numbered catalogs literalize this tactile poetics, making enumeration itself an erotic act where listing becomes a form of touching. Alongside this erotics of enumeration, their poems trace a Bildungsrahmen of gender and labor, from bank teller in Colorado performing femininity as costume to the stark declaration of no longer being a woman at all. This trajectory exemplifies what Maggie Nelson describes in The Argonauts as the experience of finding oneself at long last in the right body, though Brown's relation to embodiment remains deliberately unsettled, oscillating between self-description as meat, uncertainty about desire, and the residual pleasures of physical existence. In the manuscript, Except Maybe I Love You, the poems intensify Brown's experimental fragmentation. Holding Pattern remixes Byron's Darkness into a queer dance floor apocalypse where sailors perform death drops and utopia crystallizes momentarily in collective euphoria. This citational practice embodies what Jose Esteban Munoz describes in Cruising Utopia as queerness is essentially about the rejection of here and now and an insistence on potentiality or concrete possibility from another world. Brown doesn't simply reference Byron, they metabolize and queer him, replacing apocalyptic desolation with erotic communalism. Bodies pressed together, sailors renouncing everything but desire, the dance floor becoming a space where participants genuinely believe in utopia, even as they know it's temporary, which will happen here a little bit later tonight around 10 p.m. Throughout their work, Brown returns obsessively to what cannot last. Yet the poetry's power lies not in narrative resolution, but in what remains. The compulsive reading of text threads, the body's electric memory of touch, the fugitive sensation of merged identity, even as separateness persists. Brown writes a queer poetics of duration, where endings multiply in love, past and present, coexist in the numbered, fragmentary, endlessly recursive present tense. Please welcome to the Splice stage, Emily Bart Brown.
I'm not that much shorter than you. Can I actually move it up a little bit?
I went too far.
I'm 5'9". Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Sean. That was such a generous reading of my work, and I feel really honored. I'm so nervous. It's really a delight to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm Emily. It feels really good to be in New Orleans. The air feels really good. And you all look really beautiful tonight, so thank you for being here. And thank you, Splice. And I'm gonna ramble, so maybe I'll just go into poems. I'm gonna read some newer work from my unpublished manuscript, except maybe I Love You, and then I'm gonna read from my chapbook. The furniture was unhappy. My future seemed to spring forward from my mind without consent. I ducked, thinking I could tear range into the plan, but the axis was holding. On one side, debt, on the other, permission. The ones with permission went to bed. The ones with debt went to parties. They carried their bodies wherever they went. I kept on love trucking, ramming my love into every moment because it was the only control I could reach. We take breaks from our regularly scheduled roads. I went to bed wet without coming, and you know what? That was fine. But what did you mean when you said it? I was thinking of a color. You said red, but it wasn't red. It was an angry sort of orange, bright and terrible, signaling heat. You were thinking of a word, I guess love, but you were really thinking, the word you were thinking of was meander. You liked how it sounded like its meaning. I thought there must be a word for that, but I couldn't think of it. I was thinking about you. I was actually thinking of your cheekbones, a place my thoughts like to rest in. I was thinking of the phrase, living in the moment, which of course we are all already doing. I am living in the moment where you are. How lucky for me. You were talking about what makes someone good at what they do. I was thinking of the last time it rained, how I was in my hot little bed and the rain came for me specifically to cool me down and pattern me to sleep. But you know, I know it wasn't for me. You were thinking of me at least some of the time when I wasn't there, although how awful would it be if you weren't? I wasn't trying to get you because I already have some small part of you that I carry around inside me constantly. I was thinking, I know this can't last. I was thinking how sad I am for that inevitability. And I was thinking of how funny it is that once it happens, I won't be as sad as I am now not feeling it. You were thinking about waking up. Twee and cringe. I was told I was smart so often as a child I grew to believe it. And I could hide faults on my thinking, emotionally flayed. The radiator sounded like breathing. I couldn't get over motion smoothing, my voice modulated. I didn't subject the room. Snow on the ground, snowflake patterning on the car's windows. I avoided love all weekend. First fantasy. Petite desire. The thought, diet come. Green. If I could bend around a word as if I were inside it. As I was saying, that plate is not so small. I cut the melon-colored melon. I put it on a fine plate, plated it sat. I put my hand inside the green oven mitt. It was green, I was inside it and outside it. I put my hand inside the mitt, inside the oven, it was hot. My hand was inside it, warm, pinking up. I was outside, not so hot. My hand inside the mitt like a little kid inside a sleeping bag. Your body warms it up, kid. When I was inside the sleeping bag, inside the tent, inside the world, I got too hot. I took my body outside. Outside of my body, it was cool. Inside the tent, inside the world, inside the word I held inside my mouth. What is love? An unrelenting cruelty that the person you once prized above all others is able to hurt you the most, not by coincidence, but by exactly this mechanism, which is maybe power, placing your feelings into their body and vice versa, like a key into a lock. The first time I had sex, I thought, he has created a space inside me that wasn't there before, and now by not filling it, I will carry his void within me. And I walk into rooms not remembering why, and then I forget that even happened, creating more missing and moving on with living, touching all the objects in my house one at a time, lifting them and putting them down again in a slightly different place, half-drunk jars of water on every surface, and not sleeping, and not even thinking, blurring my way through life at a rate of 1 second per second, exactly as I was made to. Why does sweater make you think of a garment and not a person trapped in heat? Something about me is so Connecticut. Sustained attention, photo-angelic. Love does have a shadow. How's my mic volume? Is it okay? Yeah. That was kind of late in the reading to check that, honestly. Fat check. I wanted to be good, Kim Possible, soft bread, the touch of money, thighs described as creamy, coffee on ice, time is money, bread is money, my bread and butter is vegan, my boyfriend walks me to the grocery store, I walk down the aisle to Dua Lipa, two lips parting is a pout. I'm all about love. When I was a child, I thought like a child. I memorized my memories. I sat in front of the TV. I toughened my eyes to the screen, which was dots. My eyes were ramrodded. I was Nick at Night. I ate everything, time wasting. I drew little clocks in the corners of my notebooks. I kept tabs on Anthony Perkins. I couldn't spiel. I schlossed liquid like a belly. I wish I could find it beautiful to be of my own time. I hate this month. Muling, February, cold, dark. My grief is a slough, I sleep into it. And all I want is love, love, love to never leave me. I would spend my whole life in bed, dark teeth marks on my shoulder, forgetful spring. All I want is a warm lover and those eyes, and I want it trapped so I can live inside one long night. Nudge aside my brain. Do you know what I'm getting at? Visible exhale, clicking together like mechanical parts, designed within an inch of my life, and soft and digging into the bed, to be warm in a cold room, and you there, and whispering like children, and making my whole sore, but I like it, because of course it is about control. And it snowed out the window, and I could feel my breath leave me, and the sound sour bodies make, and the liquid of your mouth on me, and not thinking, and the settling of my shoulders, and I reset the clock. Oh heart, how you do nothing. Breathing, so transgressive. Guilty grace pent up in me. Like a petulant child, I refuse to put an end to nakedness. In bed, oiled meat. And I loom at the frayed cotton edge, or you loomer. We got rid of the membrane, and once we were one person, love came knocking at the kitchen door. Meat again, and you asked if I wanted the chicken's eggs, but I don't know this chicken. Breathing, so transgressive. Now you're for sure loomer and me loomy. Easy, easy, daylight dappled, no will to live. The replicants are hot and morally correct. We are two people sharing one mouth. We once fit into the coin-operated rocket ship outside the convenience store. Now stupid men own outer space. I don't, I'm meat on earth. I'm spitting meat sharing one mouth. And the sounds we make wake the lesbians upstairs. A cake is coming your way. A kitchen door is the real door. Spit into my open mouth, coward. Lick like you like licking. Rocket rocking in a cloud of ash. Breathing is so wow. Slow, ow, wow. Awake and fragrant, fragrant and alive, alive and wholesome. A whole fist. Wow. A fistful of flowers. Wow. The eye before I was an eye. Pretext of history, lying in the dark while outside the sky's unnatural beige. Every day my bed becomes my mommy and I press my weight into her. What's a mommy? Long before it became a little of everything, I thought I saw my dad inside a Chantal Ackerman film, but later I looked again and again and I couldn't be sure. The soft whoosh of the train car. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A note on the form. What's your favorite color? Mine's impossible. Light black. My hierarchy of desire. I went on a long walk and talked awkwardly. I watched 95% of a film. I walked out on my wife. I wish I felt Christmas spirit. I feel nostalgic. Why won't you come back? Is it because I didn't know how to drive stick? So many things feel impossible, like owning a hairdryer. But I eat eggs now like air, and I go into diners alone. Do you know your way around the inside of everything? Fucked grief. All I want to talk about is romance, because it is without death. I am not without anything. I carry my future death with me always, like a chestnut kept in a pocket to be worried by beautiful fingers. I am not an easy man. I am not even an easy bake oven. I know that's not funny, but I am without wit today. What do you most miss about me when I'm not there? I suppose you weren't thinking of me. You were thinking of a tree you could bring inside your home. I wish my heart had a tree. The last days of winter. There was so much water in the air. I walked, the water moved through me as it moved through the world. The world had a little bit of everything inside it. Plants, the moon, holly, and stars. I could see your eyes in it when I closed mine. I felt something shift. I kept walking. A white swan in the park shaking its snake-like neck, and the light all day gray and wonderful and the air cool, and me walking and finally crossing bridges slowly, reverently, finding a cardinal in a tree, thinking, I do not identify with you. Staring and staring, avoiding crowds of teenagers, thinking, I do not want what you have. You do not want what I have. Feeling flushed and pretty in the light rain, another kind of water. Okay, I'm going to read one more of these from my manuscript before I go into the chapbook. And this is a long one. It's called Blur, Blur, Blur. I was daydreaming. I was dreaming in a horrible way. You do not know who the enemy is. The enemy is water. You asked me what the color of water is. Of course it is. A long, slow pull. What are you thinking about? I can tell you're thinking about something. Is it the color of the sky? It is. Is it blurry, you're thinking? You're thinking that it is blurry. The world, when you're thinking of it, is fast. You're thinking of a bed you used to dream in. You're thinking of falling asleep in that bed, a small bed with your small body in it. You're remembering. You're remembering the feeling in the morning, how the bed changed. When you were a child, you did not want to fall asleep. You wanted to keep your thoughts where you could see them. But eventually you grew tired in your hateful bed. You drew the sheets around you. It was wrong. Bed too small, sheets wrong, too stiff, too hot, too much. And in the morning, the bed was different. You were different. It was the best place. You could not imagine a better place. It had warmed to you. It made you believe the world was soft. The world was blurry, but the bed was the world. It was where you wanted to be. It was impossible. You wanted to go back into that world the bed made. The dream was safe. It was beautiful and strange. You were you, but different, stronger. You saw clearly the world of the dream had winds. You followed them. The dream had a river, you followed it. You thought, I have to see the mouth of this river, and you did. You kissed the mouth of the river. It was cool and sweet. You sipped the world with your perfect mouth, and you knew you could return any time to this place that you had found on your own brave way. It was your place, and still and sweet, and you promised you would come back. But then you woke into the blurry world. You grew up and you forgot. You forgot your special place. You grew into the world as it was. Thank you for sticking with me. Okay, this is my chapbook. It is called Welcome to August. It was published by The Year, which is run by Kai, who's going to read next. And she makes really beautiful objects. And I have some. And I think what you need to know about this before I read sections from it is that I had a really horrible lesbian breakup in Western Massachusetts, and some people will understand what that means. And last night we went to Anna's bar, and there was graffiti in the stall that said, "W Mass Lesbians," and I was like, I'm being gang stalked. I'm being hunted. Yeah, it was a very messy breakup that was really hard, and I wrote a book about it. And I don't know that you need to know more than that. I guess I'm just telling you more at this point. But it was in Western Massachusetts. Okay. Welcome to August. I wanted to document how it felt to fall in love. Why was I always falling in love at the end of the summer? I wanted to get into memory, how we perceive our past selves as extensions of our current selves. I wanted to get into my own head for a bit. I was curious about angles. What does it mean to have a one-night stand that never ends? I've been in requited love 3 times. In the Sally Rooney novel, Conversations with Friends, the protagonist Frances watches Bobby, her high school ex-girlfriend and performance poetry collaborator, with whom she is still in love, and Nick, one half of an older couple that she and Bobby have become socially entangled with. She is sleeping with him and in love with him too, and observes that she always wants them to be closer together. She wants to mash them together like dolls. I'm nodding so hard, I also want that. The second time around. I can't stop thinking about her face. She dreams of me often, or at least tells me that she does. She dreamt I told her I loved her because of the perfect shape of her mouth. I do think her mouth is perfect. She is wearing my clothes. She says she misses me. I have read our text thread so many times. I am sick of how many times I have read it, but still it compiles. I want to touch her every moment when we are together. I'm resentful when I cannot. I feel guilty for feeling this resentment. In bed, I bite her everywhere I can. I bite her neck gently. I bite her chest and leave wide red ovals the shape of my teeth. You love it? I ask her. She loves my teeth. I want to give them to her. I bite her nipples, I bite her stomach, I bite her hip. I leave a hickey on one perfect ass cheek. I kiss her hair, I stroke my fingers through it. I kiss her eyelids, the freckles across the bridge of her nose. When we are naked in bed, I cannot sleep because it feels too electric to touch her. What does it mean for love to die? I felt I had broken my own heart. I remember the bed. In bed, she stuck 2 fingers in me and made me come. In bed, I held her. What happens if you get what you want? At the end of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Wonka turns to Charlie and asks him, "Do you know, Charlie, what happened to the man who got everything he ever wanted?" After a pause, he continues, "He lived happily ever after." I'm reduced to more of myself, like a sauce. I wish I could remember things exactly as they happened. In all the futures I want to imagine, in this moment, she is there. In all possible versions of my life, she is there. What else? If we are together, what of everything else? I have another relationship. I live with my other lover. It is easy to imagine futures when you don't think that you will get them. What could I say about having a crush, about falling in love? It felt terrible until it felt amazing. She was there smiling at me with her perfect mouth. We were there kissing by my bus stop. I got on the bus and left. I wanted to not be leaving. I felt like I had made a horrible mistake that time we broke up in July. On the phone, we mentioned our relationship. We are not using pet names or terms of endearment for now. Sometimes talking on the phone, I find myself so wet, not even aware of being turned on. After we had sex, we like to say, "I love you." When we broke up for the first time, I could not stop weeping. I stayed in Liam and Steven's house. I wept in their hot little bathtub. I wept in their guest room and watched Before Sunset on my laptop. In Before Sunset, there's a scene in which Celine and Jesse are in a hired car driving through the streets of Paris. Celine is so angry, on the verge of tears, as she explains that in her life, men break up with her and then they marry the next woman they date. And then they call her to thank her for teaching them what love is and how to respect women. The particular pain of being a pattern. Jesse recounts a recurring dream in which he is standing on a platform and he sees her on a train, and you go by, and I wake up with the fucking sweats. In my dreams, my exes are much cooler than they ever were IRL. We discussed your aloofness. Do you know what it feels like when cliches seem suddenly reasonable? Do you know what it is like to feel special and chosen? Do you know what it feels like to see the woman you love wearing your clothes? Let's get some specificity into this. Do you know what it is like to want to live in your phone because the person you are in love with lives more than 1,000 miles away? Do you know those anxious bubbles like champagne that mean she is drafting a text? Do you know what it feels like when she never sends it? Do you know what it feels like when she does, and it's long and it includes her profession of her feelings for you, or something that can be interpreted as her profession of her feelings for you? When did she become the person my internal monologue is aimed towards? Lizzie and I called it the back seat. Who is in your back seat right now? The person you imagine is there listening to you be clever. I wanted to put feelings in your body. After we got off the phone, my first impulse is to call her. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead and read a little bit from the end, and this will be my last piece. I saw the Milky Way for the first time in Colorado when I was 17. I went to a STEM boarding school, and every summer they would nominate some students for a week-long program at a science center in the mountains outside of Breckenridge. I didn't know at the time, despite my education, that you could see the Milky Way from our vantage. I spent most of that week with Sarah. We cuddled in my bunk bed and sat together at meals, and sometimes she sat in my lap. The two pictures I have of us, in one I am holding her from behind, and in the other she sits on my lap by a campfire. She lived in DC, and we did not keep in touch after that week. We did not kiss. We did sometimes hold hands. I wonder now if she loves women. I've tried to find her on LinkedIn and Facebook and the internet in general, but have not. There was a girl at that camp who was out as a lesbian. I was afraid of her and did not try to be her friend. The other girls kept their distance, and so did I. When I think back to that week, that is what I think of. I was vegetarian and ate sandwiches, which were provolone slices on white bread. I held Sarah's hand. I saw the galaxy I live in. Thank you.
Keep it going. One more round of applause for Emily Black-Brown. That was perfect. That was perfect. It's my great honor to introduce our next reader, Ihns. In her book, Sunday, or Sunday-E, depending on who you ask, Ihns maximized repetition in a manner that treadmilled a coin on its side of conceptualism and sonic earnestness. Ihns' newest collection, whose titular prepositional nebula of, that's the title, of, conjures a brass hinge in a vacuum, or the knob of Ron Padgett's lineated drawer in which nothing, which in fact is an actual something, resides. I refer to his sonnet in which every one of the 14 lines simply states, nothing in that drawer, nothing in that drawer, nothing in that drawer. In an interview, he talks about the beauty of how no matter how hard we try, we can't utter the same word exactly the same, which I'll alley-oop over to Marjorie Perloff, who reframes Duchamp's notion of the infrathin in her book of the same name. She reminds us no copy is the same. Duchamp begins his, I'm having trouble, sorry, I can't see. Oh, that's nice, this is the way. Duchamp's notion of the infrathin, Duchamp begins his definitions of what constitutes infrathin in a couple of delicious concrete examples. Being able to taste both the remnants of cigarette smoke and saliva in a kiss, the warmth of a subway seat from the person who previously sat there, and so forth. Ultimately, he declares, quote, in time, the same object is not the same after a 1 second interval. As Perloff reiterates, the case is made for difference, however minute, between an A and a B. Ihns of floats this infrathin notion right at the start. You appear to me through the episode in which you are appearing as its shape, from the poem Hickory, perhaps the same type of wood that Padgett's dresser drawer is made of. Imagism is sometimes vaporized, other times simply entered as if a metal room and clanging around with a hammer in lines such as a beach making fuck from Orange Shadow, and yet others we chase its labor like a game, quote, tree swing its fruit through fog who is moving in stillness. This line's landing pad of paradox is reminiscent of mime teacher Jacques Lecoq's famous mantra-like philosophy, tout bouge, everything moves. Yet on the other end of the spectrum, there is the Painter Rose lament that le contour me fuit, the contour escapes me, of relays a chase scene in slow motion of particulate matter, equal messes, sign and signifier. But this action flick is refreshingly clear of any of the usual James Dean brick wall leaning on pop culture references and Pepsi Cola product placement. I don't know, is Spinoza like a celebrity? Did you know he was a skilled lens grinder, like actually as an occupation? Did you know Natalie Portman has a strong interest in beekeeping? The metaphors are baked in. What I mean is the poems of are cluttered with broken jokes. And it's what these jokers do next to each other that sheds light on the poetics. Do they nudge, bump, clink, clip into one another, pretend they don't know one another? Or do they just float like the, quote, ho-hum of ghosts, sonics, syntax, or situationship among silly billies? Take, for instance, the poem Gloria, which I've cross-checked with our poet to make sure that she's not reading it. I'm not stepping on any lines here, but I just love reading Kai's work out loud. It's just a pleasure. So I get a Norm Macdonald vibe for that. Anyway, Gloria. Through my ceiling now, huge dog named Gloria. Huge Gloria dog. Huge Gloria. She has vulnerable feet. Ihns feels like an oracle who has clocked in at the company for decades, whose desk is high on a mountaintop, who decided ages ago to quiet quit. For example, I embrace you, frailed head. I embrace you, head empty of jewel. I embrace you floating on the stoop of the sea before the sea. And hear her speaker of the longer poem, Repair Hours, at what obviously must be the company retirement party for Gertrude Stein. All right, Gertrude Stein impression. Musics of the roof repair, up there, do they freeze? They are a wet waving flag, a drop and weave, there to me through my ceiling, come down. Are you coming there to me, these sounds? I hold up and I open, vanillic curling up, a rasp, so I'm open. If Ov's odd combos of words placed side by side can be codified, the short poem Romantic Ventilation might act as Ars Poetica. Quote, the matters are where each other is in yes-no condition, whose punchline on a short leash yips a little later. Little bit of pee. While there might also be a little Ray Armantrout stuck in Ihns' teeth, the speaker still smiles unabashedly about it. The pizza put in my mouth got hot and burnt there. The identity markers of a biological epidermis are being shed in real time, second by second. We are not the same as we were this morning. We will not be the same after this or any poem we see in the flesh. That ofness, that emphatic invisibility of the everyday hinges that slam open the days. All of time is a hinterland, and here you can breathe in its mist. The ear becomes a mouth, the brain a lung, here to put some weird in the Splice wires. Tonight, give it up for Ihns.
Thank you, Henry. That was amazing. I'm short. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Ihns. Thank you so much, Henry, wherever you went, for that amazing intro. Wow. And thank you to Rodrigo and Sean and the Saturn Bar for hosting us. And I'm so excited to read with Emily. That was amazing. I've admired Emily's work for many years, but we've never read together. So, very exciting. Okay. I sat in the wonderful park by the river for a long time this morning making a set list, which is semi-legible, so hopefully it will work. Okay, but I'm going to kind of read from across a couple of different bodies of work. I'm going to read one poem from my first book, Sunday. It's short-ish. It's called Lay the Fine Life on a Muster of Rocks. Lay the fine life on a muster of rocks. They sang a requiem at the beginning of the universe. I'll spend all of my time as soon as I get it. A recalculated piñata, you can know it, by the virtuosity of the cleanness below it. What is the source of light in this painting? The police. The thing that struck me always is, what is the source of light in this pantry? An interruption of money. It then settles me to sit in a style apparently whole. Hi, I'm here in particular for disclosure and miraculous knitwear. Does it make you feel weird? I can't stop the rain. And then I'm going to read a couple of poems from which Henry described so marvelously. Okay. The first one is the title poem that he read a part of called Hickory. It's sort of a riddle. Hickory. You appear to me through the episode in which you are appearing as its shape. When I am seeing it, the tree has two faces. The last one is contact. What is that of? Orange shadow. The room is very busy, including my privacy. Lists, likewise, very long, including it. A beach making fuck, then, and lying in an orange shadow. Hers when she lies in it, really very tremendous, and orange, a shadow, drawing it out on pebbles, itself there, their pebble-like texture in a terrific and graphical line. My face is face down, and it is her face, not parsing them. Of course they are, a cornucopic kind, a square. The heaven of knitwear. A perfect, stupid tulip, dewdrop yellow. Hello, my friend, I do not confuse you. You come shaking the light from somewhere else off, it's a shower. Redemptive, misgrained, without hesitation. Visitor to the plasma vault, always again, not the thing. 1. How do we align the incredible mirror, simply bearing that it is red? Here is the house, burning. All properties of the house, burning. The water, flowing out of it. The firemen. Well, what is the thing that can bear? Bear things like red. The form is the house being what it is as a house. What makes it an eye is seeing the nothing of a specific content. The sanctuary is there by itself, so on hand. It was nice, it, red, round, solid day. Red gram fell a thing, a gel. At all times, you decide what belongs together. Have to go back in myself and require something in there. The future of knitwear, of heaven. All right, this one, this next one's a somewhat longer poem. It takes 5 minutes to read. It's called Not Fear. This book was originally called Love, Not Fear, Not Love Fear, which, yeah, no. But this was originally from that, but it's called Not Fear. And what do you need to know? There's a conversation between a snake and a meerkat. It's happening via text, and I think that's all. Okay, Not Fear. Doing it humanly. Proceeding by the rules of a system is to believe it, form of the action to do with it. Meerkat, are you my friend? I dislike snakes. Likes? Digging. If you are a snake, swipe left. I am a snake, meerkat. You don't look like a snake. I assure you I am a snake. Oh yeah, how are you typing this workout legs? With my nose. It is extremely difficult and makes my nose sore. But I will do this for you, meerkat friend. We are listening to popular music when we do this, almost surely. Free as a limb describing an air. Bleach tincture form of the stripe, form of the silicone, peach goo water. Step forth victorious from the ruined and depicting objects, says Schiller, to the art. But when I tried to be art by exceeding my imperia, and the imperia just kept saying, come free me from my thoughts, please. I didn't know how, cried in the science candle, made the whole room smell like a fruit marble. What did I want to do? Want to move all over the place. It is a mess. Uh-oh, the chicken floating free. Here where signs are given through belief, which seems sometimes like a tube. Also what was given is angels, eagles, or goldfish. The summer of girls was a hot, hot summer, we were told in our most scientific knowledges, noises, and wetness under heaven when it broke open that God was an exercise to teach us. Think hard about premises, like, all I have in my house is fridge. Thought it was a snake, but it was a snake. At the scent of the rule, I looked for a ground and found you more deeply. I would like to say this experience was not official. It is not a property of the discovery to be merciful. There was very little in the circumstance I could do besides mind, says Meerkat. I worried when my vibration would not associate, not very sticky, would not attach. You were stubborn, you keep saying, electrician, I disconnect phenomena from my agency. I think you had sought a system to relieve you from. Always I was so light in my forces, a refining variation tilting through its shades. Purple, mauve, Venetian, stunner, which are possible. Mineral, blithe, and fungal character possible, and a suite of little towels. Sweetly inertial in fall you touch me in the eyes, pine sol, risen, variegation, in beds of hosta we had planted. curtain and richness of shit dirt released from plastic, no breeze moves it. Mother and mother gently strikle by gaze, stoical BB spike air in its cactus. Beauty, the yours, lay in ties, did nothing, mere potentially rapid movement. Vessel signals inside it by moving away at exactly the rate required to sustain it. It was just bad, not useless. I am just bad, not useless. No, the object is the movement of distinguishing it. Fish as fish motion, we represent the mirror as its own circle within it. And Snake likes to be up high with the wipers. While the elevator goes up and down on the wall, the camera will teach us the names of the mailbox, or other tools that may supplant the container, as long as you don't drink my "hello, this house, my age is a good idea." I wanted to look very technical. Over time, we changed the terms for being different from each other. Fish says, I was afraid of the icon. I could not recognize it. Now I'm dead. In the subway spot where pain and pleasure changed their places. We fumbled our way through that blinding light. That fog should live in the dark part of the house. Mob sublimity ecloses, a sound with no ceasing in it. Though really, Maya would like to be relieved of this excitement, and no one can know what to do with you. Live my life like it is, then like it is familiar. Meerkat, yes, snake, who are given through belief. To get somewhere you leave something behind, in the total lap. Meerkat says snake, meerkat says snake. Perhaps my feeling for life was what was untrue. Inger, Kurg eternal in the churchyard with rules and stony markers. Extant, touching also other things, but this is where I end at what I touch. Stunned and warm where they touch. Good is like a Tesla coil. Good is like a bitter coil. Really very lifelike, cup-like, or container. It was like a dream, I said. It was like the past, he said. In neither case any more real or capable of prolongation. I reversed the letter form in my mind toward error. When you can see the end of a course, you must return to your life, but appearing open, it might be your life. No one was a mineral, after all. Nearly always exposed, I colloquialize a tiny brightness dislodged from the sun with the sun when I take the picture. The wishes lost among the motor doors grew useless, when truth is not continuous, the movies, or fear when it's pure, like a glass at the bottom of the tub. I think, is this a thing the camera could go inside of? And the answer is no, like a scroll bar, like rubies. The protocol machine cherry I drew through my mind like a figure, and savagely it lets me. Savage the long stem, so the piece begins in ecstasy or facial recognition, come out of it standing. T-shirt that just says, crush waves, and so heaven can touch me later when I persist and just shake. If you do things with fire correctly, no one will enter you, or put you in soil. Why do I lay this? I leave it, give slightly incorrect information, such as, in every dream I am, beige worm, and in fact, wet being under blanket. Nonetheless, am truly on the floor, not separated by night from my shadows. I'm the luckiest boy when I disconnect from becoming. In dirt, my body makes me holy, such as wash. No matter how many people I know, you have a lot to say about you. Okay. Two more short ones from this. This one is called Immediately Motionless Likeness. Immediately Motionless Likeness. By going, you have to be and seek it out, said the starlet in the shared volitional language of space and time. Explanation thrashes round the thing, but doesn't touch it. The thing we know then as style of thrashing, or ripples in the pond sufficient in itself, she licks her tongue, it could be desired as a figure. Faithless as a class of examples, I found new objects swimming blankly in a common sense, by going alone to listen to them in the night light of their pool. To begin with life or stars, the spring as source or season when to start. I love what you said about the birds, as distance is required for attraction, and force keeps its distinctions in a tall hull, called law, clever in the style of depth in a painting, sumptuous for use and briefly this, of fancy, pity, and devising. Wherefore, as it is at the right door, make it language, or rejoice, and this is how you touch me and my other ghosts, in short of the occasion, just a frequent mist of atoms, all touching in the arms, like an error in the wish. Last tiny one. By love, I mean what you mean now. By love, I mean what you mean now. There is a scrap in the sky. It itches when I itch it, so we are in love. A woman skates a lane on the frozen lake. Some of the fish are dead, and some are not. Okay. All right, so I'm going to read two. So I've been working on kind of a new project that's got sections, and one of them is now a chapbook called The Birds. So I'm just going to read two poems from that. One is the title poem, The Birds. This chapbook also takes as its kind of like, I don't know, leader image, Wittgenstein's duck rabbit drawing, which if you don't know is a drawing that he borrows from a 19th century psychologist. The drawing remains the same, but depending on how you turn yourself to orient to it, it looks either like a duck or a rabbit or indeterminately neither. The drawing doesn't change, but you do. Okay. The birds. I have a vital fear of birds. When the birds are on the beach, I am disturbed from the beach. When the birds are on the beach, I head for my car. Should the birds extend to the car, I am desperate. The birds can cut me off from exit concisely by being simply in the route. The problem with birds is that there are a lot of birds. You cannot address all the birds that there are. Okay. This one's slightly longer, just like a couple pages. It's called Explanatory Power. Explanatory power. It was dangerous, interesting, and sad to me, useful to me, useful to me, useful to me. There is something I've not rightly understood, some cropped aspect of the sunset. 5 birds rising from the ground at sunset. Their house may be what it is. Some 6th bird that may now be related. It looks awarely out its bright head, whose content is whether objects are made of it or not. Build a house. I feel reluctant to do so. Speaking, that was more like turning, new jewel of the head, but I thought, it can be a piece of mail, like a bill. At their life I could not rise to meet them, stuck on the hay, heavy weepy iron detailing of what it is laying, happy beautiful heart among need's willows, incandescent brushed no face. Her eyes are only in the front of her head, it moving, cooperative movement of my jaw, something that style has promised to disclose, whose ramifications distill it to silence. An image, thrown by star on afternoon, thrown on the nice woman's face you are, quiet or pleading, substance or chatter, the clothing of detail but the empty face of water. No thought, only yes. Okay, thank you, yes. Only yes. To silence, too related, just embrace the corrective warmth. If you can surface when the food is promised, hold the plate to make the bean burn through the face of the gel. Beautiful old wall, inflection of absolutely habit, beautiful old shrub. It's retrospective, whatever will have been true. Use the chair, the matter-of-factness of actually living. Eat air, water, leaves. You could do that instead. Lay down and light what actually is, cut against the photo, some simpler drawing, clearer thing. Okay, and then I'm going to read some very new work. This one is, okay, so this is a strange poem. It's called Portugal Scene. And it's kind of, I was really interested in digitally generated images of vacations. Okay, this takes about 4 minutes to read, just so you know. Okay, and it's like, you'll see. Okay, bear with me. Portugal Scene. Lay on towel at beach near seagull, painted tile, no state, an image of will. Go down for ice cream at noon cart. Bang sand from skin and peremptory activity check, but always with great brightness. Innovative spiral tower being like seashell, leave trash in trash container at agreed on time, an hour of day. No trick of light. Sundown luminous normalcy should spread on beach crust, very crispy, roasty, brown sand. Brussels sprout, towel yolk, and the ice cream, constituting a food memory at beach center. At love hour rise to cruise deck or the drill announcement, voice speaking always with great brightness or instructional clarity, nudity of soul becoming available, deck, there, then, now, beaten, into wood grain exceedingly nicely as is evident. Pliant, habituated laser instructor getting into the wood habit now. Glutinous lamination, yes, seen and to squeeze it in order to return to the Portugal scene. Ecotex terry fiber towel near volleyball chamber, braised colloquially to a lemon sauce butter, green orchid olefin, morphological solid wax, fantasy hand dip, climate chime, Delfino mirror, towel appearing to enter at bench of game being placed, the bench too at right angle appear beneath it gently. Or cheese curd, smooth coordination, mold tuft, peach colossal leg intrusion, wiped half image great brightness, vertical norovirus intrusion, coaster plex, bleacher board of cherry maple oak wood glazed pine court boards. The ball is vertical and the bodies, yoked cluster vortex composed of limbs and bands around limbs, ecotex, terry fiber cylindrically knitted, high contrast, brand patch, immediate transition to sand again or exit, matte metal, white framing hand on bar wedge, open light, new register, in full left, white trajectory, lesion through field, wiped clover, oxalis, vertical grain, crunch down, sand grain structure, opposed circulation, vitriplex, orange juice, noon cart, the Portugal scene, always with great brightness, returning. Plant food veterinary, imbrication, concern wheeler, goes down cobblestoned, irregular, sidewalk surface matrix banging, contained face infant visible to proximal hanging vines, bright fuchsia explosion cluster at wall surface bougainvillea, get combinatory like program selection, click for profile info, go on now, you get news from us. Always with great brightness, the light source breaking radially over diffusion surface, scatter plot, towhead, child blonde rough ride near orchard, mediated sand spoon problem, white dots, on dress, in ruined visit, explanation not received, just texting her mom first at beach to originate at Portugal scene. Mainstream icon Ruby, #1 dress seeker, distressed, learns 6 secrets now, waning through appropriate phase to track down, at point of sale countercharge, white taffeta maxim notation, meretricious human yearning vertical, Luboff tutelage can be brought under vectoring purpose umbrella directive, chat shop redeemer, Portugal has vest, the beach sand gets into vestibular crack area despite recurring resistance platform, marginalization, error reduction strategy, pure chat vertical, now. More at Portugal scene, mesh anabasis, floral ketosis plan, total urinal outpouring, face cleanse assures great brightness, ecotex cart program on ice cream, maple oak fiber wood quality, non-conductive fiber mat implantation schedule likelihood, Venus torsional crossing snoot at beach appraisal, Brussels sprout, lemon sauce on butter, lemon, cream, lemon, butter, lemon, cream, butter, sauce, plume explosive late yank ume note, faintly unworried. Electroplated chrome veto warrior duplex rental schemata map mind, can retrofit scenic Portugal wipe window, throw brand exit transition, lesion through field, utterly snowing, the monitor head in snow, flowing out like of a person, naturally. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so then I have another chunk of this thing called likeness that I've been working on is called sentiment. I'm really interested in the difference between like feelings and images of feelings and like how you know which you're in. And I feel like sentiment, I don't know. So this is in some way me trying to think about that. It's also just poems. Okay, sentiment. Rose. The vague religious eyes of yours, written over or beneath the word of them. Ivy world and Jess, world of the building's pertinence. Smoothly merged command like uncle, daddy, look at that, my soup, good nap, asleep or actually happy. A woman is seen weeping distantly. Some part of her breaks into flower that the weeping becomes. She participates with a huge dish and is remunerated by an odd, geometrical faith. It fills with heating coils, allegorically. This is recorded journalistically, in the manner of dreams. Was it water that lasted for several reasons, or something that is not a word, the edge of which is the event to approach? I think I was something else, a certain kind of animal first, picking up what flowers please my judgment, or being those flowers, since a man was young at an early time, living through the vast anteroom of dream, like a Labrador, walking on a wooden floor, slowly, foot by foot, until the room is at an end, not being too moody, covered in sauce, accepting of sauce. Okay. Sentiment. Motorsport garment, thrown down some merciful rain, the stairwell. Is my love amazing? Experiences with water. She loved bells. She did not love water. the experience that flows through my ordinary life. Some part of your body must pass this line. Where do the vehicles begin? At $30,000, not here. If one cut sentiment out of the lines, there would be a true thing in there, like sediment, but beyond it, i.e., it is not something I can feel for the first time. Okay, this one is a little bit longer, just a couple pages. It's called tea tags. You know how like you have the inspirational saying on your tea tag? Okay, I was really interested in those because it's like, you know, various kind of spiritual insights filtered through Whole Foods, but there's still something in them that you can't entirely dismiss, and so that problematic, I don't know. Okay, so there's a lot of like actual literal tea tags, and then you'll see. Okay, tea tags. Personal growth lies within the unknown. Courage permits you to explore this space. The only thing that can limit you is believing that you are limited. Become limitless. When fear is forcing you to give up, call upon your heart's courage to continue. May this day be the day to lead us to peace, to happiness, and to joy. Be kind to others, but always be compassionate to yourself. Travel in grace, knowing that you are protected by love, related to your greatness and not to your weakness. Let your greatness show from your inner light. The one who listens understands. The one who listens understands. The only constant is change. May all beings be happy. Trust creates peace, trust. Personal courage permits growth within life. That you are limited is the only believing thing. Courage is forcing you to continue your heart. Always be kind to yourself, to compassionate others. You are protected by love, grace, and knowing travel. Not to relate to your greatness is weakness. Weakness. Let your inner show greatness light. The one who listens understands who understands. Thee is only constant change. May all happy beings be. Trust creates peace. Trust creates potato. Trust creates peas. And carrots change. By grace you are protected, and upon it travel. So by the weakness of the inner you may become others and love them. Courage is lies which are permitted, also truth, which is beyond all relation or reality. May it be true, and as they say, that you are limited, that you therefore are a believing thing, that the only truth is relation arising, fading as it understands or comes to explanation, fruition showing then as the form of its light. And to joy may this day lead to compassionate others, whom you call upon as travel can leave an arm. Trusting aids geese. The phoning bondsman has mange. Say tall earrings, see slatty, or let show a greatness light. Like them, courage is forcing you. Rust negates peace. The moldy condom is strange. Gray scald feelings seem fattier, or light show grass. Lit a fire, the forest is rage. Dust sates fleece. Rock takes scissor. Rook takes night. Rake takes leaf. Ripe takes time. Rope takes line. Ruse, belief. Rose beef. This one is just called Smiley Face, but like the emoticon. Okay. One turns a knob, enters room, exits similarly. You were hatted and pleased with your hat, squatting in a little corner thinking, I am not nervous. November fly, buzzing in the house. You will be killed without mercy because you are annoying and we do not understand you. Just a couple more. Humid. I could really only sleep as a child at night, a boat pleasing being the shade of its materials only. I ate a great deal of the meat of birds, fried, dried, and heaped, scooped out, cooked, slowly burned, but in liquid, so that it became almost liquid, still fibrous, but shredded, cut to such fine pieces it was apparently paste, approaching again the liquid, or true liquid, flavored by the inner bird, bones of bird, to leach out into water over hours, such that the water is nearly gluish. Soaking a different piece in this other liquid produces a pleasing transformation of flavor. Processing chicken. Okay. This one's called Interesting Little Circuity. The sky was low, clear or raw. Lawrence Joseph, London. At the garden I removed the exhausted sexual parts, the signaling tissue. Fearful plum fire, that is, in my head. Lie on the grass, hosed out, lying on it. A Jack Russell Terrier-like dog, but with freakish horse legs, said Derek. And my dad. Shaved legs and shorts in the lounge chair, sheepish about it. Fleas in the grass. It's because of the fleas in the grass, Derek. The sexlessness of angels. Having been removed in a long weeping hall set into a cleat. No one wants any more a charming free-form brain. No. Let us into the hot tub. Let us lay down our shoes. Let me detach this bug from the ashtray filled with water to the brim of the ashtray. We've been caught believing in real things again. In a little attitude of paradise, the recent attitude full of knees and strictures and total fear, despite a vastly seeming okayness you mostly participate in most days, needs vastly tempering by somewhat the motorcade, the snake of medicine stretched over the T of cross, in Wheaton ill for printing, real things again. I am not just writing my bop personality. Personality is not going to take you personally far. Anyway, angels have no sexes. It is burningly not relevant to them. Flaming vomit in a damp ravine, going out on top of leaves and burning them slightly, ivy leaves. Okay, this one's called Flowers. It's another kind of combinatory exercise. Flowers. Each part is a simple thing, better or less, final surface, box that sounds like its head. I needed to take it apart to take care of it, the Roman marbles wearing their miserable faces. I think I might need less than other people do of this, more of something else, something worse. Crossed by 1,000 ideas of shadows, the figure of little Pearl is edged in light, a grass that opened its eyes beneath me. Of my loves, few know me. In light the grass will open, purple eyes, white eyes, the feeling that one must begin again, each part better or less. A final surface revealed as a box in my care. There was also a wish to destroy what had been made, crossed by the shadow of many ideas. The miserable faces of Rome and marble, returning to a room concentratedly. Of my loves the grass will open its eyes in light without knowing. Named blue-eyed grass, white blue-eyed grass, flower, star, hedge, border, grass. Of parts in their own nature are difficult, resistant to touch, easily destroyed, each a better part or less resistant to its destruction as it enters the whole, of whom it loosely, to whom it loosely, neither of these. Each part in itself is simple. This one's called, I love to use my friend's shampoo. I do. I love to use my friend's shampoo. Someone told me it could be done, so then I could do it. Objects come out of that voice if you stand near secular people making wishes. The fine tone of voice tuned thus is conducive. God coming out like an object, born a baby deer, the dizzying ultra wires of its birth. You are not trying to tolerate the whiff of woo-woo around it. I am used to it now, and find it good. Okay. Confused objects in autumn or maybe summer. They are very sensitive to weather, smallness, affection, charm, and emotional warmth. What is the common beverage? Water. If it is nutritious, that I am aware of. The days are long, made of American fruits and ham. One uses some other tool for a default state, some distance that settles down. A big blonde animal hopes for death on the tall big rocks, where it is much less developed. Kind, nice, beautiful, or pleasant, in historical time. But I prefer the other kind. Next to last one. Cloud-like. Daisy-like, God's timing. Cloud-like, taking shape like a cloud responsibly, clean on the pond in a reinforced place of weakness, clean shadow, star point. The specific control of that deed is no voices, only other limbs that deliver us as to form. Who shall describe it, in duplication or response? Blind dog, escutcheon, blind head, spider, that which plague calls forth its similar. When he allowed himself to be destroyed, there came forth a great heat, a great covetous light among stones, taking shape like a cloud responsibly, the meadow anemones along the paths softly, being in their own head like a cloud. Playing a dark modern game, you acquire greater freedom of motion when you enter the enemy deeply. But it isn't worth it, I think. When I type the email, I break up into crap in a field. Real, not even footage. You are there like you were with no one. Here is a message of life brought to me by my enemy. Is that my voice coming from behind me? Surely. A synecdochic branch collapse or plant area harmony. The method is true and so gives rise to signs of it. Its shade is on the back of all things. That dog's breath smells like broccoli. on a layer of the head just scraped like off, but keeping the exact head angle. That way of speaking. Is that all there is? It is all that has been described. Last poem. Very short. It's called Today. Not true of this particular day, but today. Gross and extremely bad. Total black behind the leaves because of the scanner. To apprehend one's limits by means of realism. The awesome pleasantness of rain. Thanks.
Keep it going for Kai and Emily. Woo, smash it in there. Yeah, abracadabra. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. We're not here just for the poetry, but we're also here for the sociality of poetry. So walk around and introduce yourself to someone you don't know. Plenty of fresh faces in here. If you need me to do it, I'll grab you, I'll grab someone else, I'll smash all together and say, this is that and that's this. Also, there's some king cake over here provided by the generous Jace Britton. But the caveat is, if you get the baby in the king cake, you have to write the introduction for the next Splice. So be careful what you pick up, what piece you get. The poets have some books for sale over here. As you know, we don't charge a cover for this, so please spend your money buying the poets' books. Fund their trips, fund their drinks and foods and whatever else y'all want to buy. And that is almost it.
Tip your bartenders, and we got two more slices, regular slices.
Two more,
and then the final one for NOPF. So the number is 21. February 21st, we have an international theme. We have a Berlin-based poet, Ina Krosnoper, coming in, who does weird kinetic things. I think she's going to be moving around the room or something. We'll see. She's amazing. And we have Jeff Dirksen coming in from Canada, who's an eco-poetical genius. And then here we have two of the splicers for March 21st. Just freshly arrived into town, Stella Corso and Leah Dibor. And then we have the final thing, and then Sylvia Jones is coming in from BC too. So that's the real deal. So thanks again for coming out. I'm pretty sure this was a perfect Splice. This is amazing. Great.
Rip and dip it, buy some drinks, tip your bartenders, buy some books. See y'all Saturday after Mardi Gras.